Hello everyone, it's Krista here from Second Chance Creation. This is a take two. I tried about 4 hours ago and the internet crashed. It's just come back up, so I'm hoping that it's all good. It's nearly midnight here, but I'm determined to get this up because I've got a nice big project chair. And so, like I said, it's an Impromtous live. So no one really knows that I'm on, but that's okay. If you are, fantastic. I'll try to catch chat, but I just can't seem to be able to watch it at the same time as I'm showing you my projects. I've been inspired by a lot of crafters, and I thought I'd just put it all into practice now. I've been ordering some playing cards, and I just wanted to share them. And these are the jumbo playing cards. They measure they're 3 inches wide and 5 inches long. So they're quite big. They're just plain. And I use them as tags and tuck spots. So let me share what I have made. I've really altered them and practiced my collaging with paper napkins, and I took out a script of paper napkins and popped that on there. This is actually fabric. It was an applique, and I just glued that on, and I just popped and I just drew around with a pen just to define the edges a bit more. A little bit of washi tape. And this is actually, the card is actually covered by a brown bag from McDonald's. You can still see the red just on the back here. And then on the back I've used some the brown paper bag as well, because you can see the yellow line. And as we know with McDonald's, it's got the red and yellow on the brown paper bags whenever you get their burgers. So that's one done. This one here, I've really tried my different way of collaging with papers, music paper, just a bit of envelope, some scrapbook paper, some dictionary. This is a piece of pattern paper, and this is the back of a postage stamp, some more music paper, a little bit of tulle I just popped over the corner, and then just a little bit of scrappy fabric with a huge button on here. And just a little bit of vintage lace just on the edge here. I've stitched around it, a bit uneven, 2 rows, which I wanted to make look a bit messy, which is a bit hard to do for me. I'm more of a straight seam girl. And on the back, of course, I covered it with some coffee dyed paper. Here I have another one. Again, I did a collage with various different papers. Finished it off with a little pretty crochet trim. And hi Debbie, how are you going? You caught me. Well, it's an Impromtous live, and I tried early on, but it cut me off. And this is mainly a project chair. And so I've done a bit of crafting for my journals. I hope you're well, Debbie. And I've covered it with some pattern paper. You can still see the lines there. And I've just left the playing card. I wanted to show the back of it a little bit, but I've popped on some paper so you can journal on it. The next one I've made, I wanted to show the card on the front. And of course I used some book page, a little paper doily, some paper napkin that I popped on there as well, and a little tag. And I've sewed it with embroidery floss, and I did that, put that in the bobbin. And this is Ruby from Little Books. She does a lot of work with this, so I've decided to do it around this card. And on the back again, I used a piece of old book paper that's already that colour, And the back I actually covered with a Reader Digest page. Quite amazing because I just like that pattern. It just looked really old, and I thought that was pretty cool. Now these cards here I've made so that they are actually tags. Here's another one. I've just popped on some brown paper, and again I've done a bit of collaging here, and I wanted to the card print show through, so you've got a little bit of red there. Again, I've covered it with parts of it with the brown paper bag from Compliments from McDonald's. Bit of pattern paper here. Again, I've ripped out a bit of script from a paper napkin and popped that on there. And then I used some of the fabrics that I'm going to be using for my boho journal. Popped on a little button with a bit more fabric and a little bit of sparkle just there. This next one, again, covered it with McDonald's brown paper bag just here with a bit of pattern paper. You can see just a little bit down the bottom here and across here. Then I decoupaged part of a napkin just on the front of it, and I double stitched this one, and I rounded the corners on that one, just made it a little bit different. So, a bit of fun. Now these ones are going to be tuck spots, that's why there's nothing on the back. Again, here I've rubbed the shiny bit off with a bit of sandpaper. I tried gesso, but I just didn't like the look of it. And yeah, so I've used lots of my scraps, bit of lace, little bit of fabric there that shows through a bit of pink and browns, little scrappy bits of lace down the bottom, a little picture from Pinterest, and I just used a bit of scrap paper that I had, and I've just popped it on there and used a zigzag stitch on this one just to be a little bit different, because that's going to be a tuck spot for a page, and you can pop some cards behind it. This one here is, again, I've made it into a tuck spot, and I've double sewed around it various items, paper, paper napkin, little bit of old lace. I still had a bit of that vintage crochet trim left. This is just from Pinterest, and this is very interesting. I went to the local op shop, and I love going to their shoe section, and thank you, Debbie. And the shoes, the sandals, there was 2 pairs of sandals, and they were going to throw them out because I said, look, these are broken. And they said, well, we'll chuck them in the bin. And I said, no, 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 because each sandal had 6 of these embellishments on it, like buttons, and they're wired around. You just don't see that anymore. So I've got those pair of shoes free, and I got 12 of these. So I thought that was pretty cool. So they are the playing cards. And then I used a playing card as a backing for a coin bag. And this coin bag was gifted to me by Bonny from Bonny on Clive. Most of you know Bonny here on the crafting channel. And I just popped a decoupaged a napkin on the front there, and just popped on this beautiful little, this is actually hand crochet trim. And this was made by a very, very old lady, or elderly lady. And she's passed now, but yeah, this is hand crochet, so it's very, very dainty. And so to keep the bag sturdy, instead of just popping on a page, I've actually popped it on the card. So I thought that was a good idea. So that's what I've done. And of course, in my last video, you might have seen where I've been sent some happy mail with some life project cards. Because I can't get them here, and when I do, there might be just half a dozen from the op shop. So so that's why I got these jumbo cards, because, you know, just about the same size. I can alter them. Chrissy Crosser here on YouTube, crafting channel, sent me some happy mail, and of course she sent me these project cards. You'll see them in the previous video. So I actually altered one today. And this is one of them. but I'm not sure whether I want to make it into a tuck spot or a tag yet, so I didn't do much on the back. And this is the front. So what I've done is I've left the card as it is, but what I've done is I've actually covered it with some curtain fabric. And isn't that just beautiful? Now, the reason I've done that is because I'm making a wallpaper journal. And so I've used a piece of wallpaper that was gifted to me by Karen Monroe here on YouTube. And I've cut out a snippet and sewn across it, and that's a tuck spot for another little tag that I made. Okay, and that just goes in there. I've used some very old vintage lace, some pearls, and thank you, Debbie. And I've got this seam binding, and it was on a flower that someone gifted me. I just wanted the flower, so I took that part off. And I can't remember who gave me the flower, but I thought that little scrunchy bit just looked really good on there. So, yeah, so the wallpaper, I'll show you the wallpaper. Oh, this is the curtain that I used as a backing. It's really, really old, but it's beautiful colours, very sheer. And this is the wallpaper. You might have seen me the previous videos where I shared the wallpapers that were gifted to me. So, yeah, so this is, and at the end of live, I'll show you a little bit on my journal that I started. So, yeah, so that's going to, that lended itself really well for this card. The wallpaper just here. So I'm not sure whether I'll make it a tuck spot. I can't really make it a tag because I've got all this down here, so it'll probably be a tuck spot. So I'll just pop that over there. Now, the next one was, I think it was paper beads. This one was from Raelie, from from the Dungeon, and Crafts from the Dungeon, and she had a tutorial on making paper beads. Now, I do have beads, but not these beads. So I went mad one night and just made a whole heap of beads. And I used paper clips, and as you can see, there's quite an array of them. But I like these beads. Look at the colours on these. Okay? So, and what I've done is I've actually popped on some nail polish glitter. Finish them off, and let me see, you can use the beads, you know, you can make beads out of these too by just cutting it, but I haven't got to that stage yet. I used a skewer. You done some paper clips, bearing in mind this one's not finished yet. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. Use some matte paper, and I used yeah, they're really easy, Debbie. They're done with a skewer, and you, I'll leave Raelene's link all in the description box when she does the beads, and you can have a look. It's quite easy. I just cut the strips, and they're sort of, you know, cut narrow and then wide, and then you just a little bit of glue and wide, and you can do it in front of the TV. So, and you know, some of them come up just unbelievable sizes. Like the first one looked quite hideous, and I don't even, oh, here it is. That was my first one. It looks quite hideous. Doesn't even look like a bead. So, but by the time I suppose I dolly it up, it'll be fine. So, now that's what I've done. Now the finished ones are right here. Look at that. So it was a challenge for me to use. Hubby had some of this wire, and I've never done any wiring before. My hands won't take it. And I tried and I tried, and then I gave it up. And then 2 weeks later I tried again, and I got it. So, yeah, so doesn't that look different now? Because this is the same sort of paper as this was. And again, I did 2 coats of nail polish on that and popped some beads on. Then I done a pink one. This one's already on a bulb pin. But isn't that pretty? So I'm using up my beads now that I do have. And I've just covered them all with glitter nail polish. Let's pop them on the side here. Oh, here's another one. Here's a brown one with a little dragonfly. Not sure if you can see that. Okay. And oh, I just like this one. This is like for my shabby chic journal. Just like it. I made that dang a little bit longer. It's off a bracelet. I don't buy any of my jewellery unless it's second hand. So yes, and I had these fancy little tops. Okay, and these were all gifted to me, so that was good. And then I've got one of these. Okay, this paper here. You're going to laugh when I show you the paper. Put a little dangle on the bottom. Again, covered it with nail polish, glitter nail polish. So let me show you what that is from. Find Wally. I don't know if you international ladies know about this one. It's a book, and you got to find Wally. He's in there somewhere. And I don't think much of the book itself, but I loved all the colours. So by the time you take all the strips off and cut all the strips, you won't know where Wally is, okay? And they are really, really colourful. So, and this is one of them, and you wouldn't know. It's just really pretty. So that was my bead, the sharing of my beads. And I thought I'd just, that was just so cool. So I just had to share that because Raelie from Crafts from the Dungeon here in Australia, she's an Aussie crafter, amazing. So thank you. So that's one. Then the next one is book plates. Seeing I'm right into journals at the moment. And book plates are quite expensive for me to buy. I bought one set from one of those overseas sites, and but yeah, they were the wrong ones. It was like you had to screw something in. But I mean, I'm altering these, so I can just put a bit of bling or buttons or whatever. And I've just cut up a piece of paper and stuck it on something else and put a backing on it, and for a journal. But a lovely lass by the name of, I'm going to call her Nat, and she's actually from Treasure Books, and I think her name is Natasha. I'm not sure. It's my German that's coming out, the pronunciation, but she's from Treasure Books. I'm going to leave her link below as well. And she's made these book plates, and of course I did mine in my version. And I used these weird looking playing cards. Boom, whatever that is, I have no idea. So I've made some, and I've used a Scrabble card. And there's my these are my little book tags or book names. And I've used various fabrics. I decoupaged this one. And then I've used some fabric here, and I've got some paper here, and I actually sewed this part on. Used a bit of gold bling, and I had a bit of gold bling just here. Book name plugs or something, I think they're called. Here's a green one. Okay. And this one is off from my Scrabble card. Here's a boom card. Okay. And again, I've decoupaged it. And then I found this little snippet of magazine paper with a little blue plant on it. Bit of tulle, bit of old book paper, and I just stressed the sides a bit, sewed right around it, and put some flat back pearls on it. This one here, I've done in various fabrics. I have to tell you about this one. This is actually done from, I was lucky enough to find in the op shop a sample pack of curtains that you make blinds from, which is these sort of things. And they make blinds from them, Holland blinds, Venetian blinds, any sort of blinds. And yeah, it was like 50 cents for a big pile, and they're all different colours and all real sturdy fabrics. So I've used that on this one, and a little bit of scrap paper, bit of fabric, oops, wrong way around, and I just printed out the word journal and just put it on there, sewed it on. I mean, how cool are they? Here's another one. Again, here's some more of that fabric. Here I've put some music paper on the back. Just light bit of scrappy fabric from my scrap box. Little flat back. They're actually brads. Actually, yes, they are. They're brads that I've popped through just to be a bit different. This will go on a music journal. And I think that was it. And then I've just made a little tag. Yeah, just a bit of sharing there. I went a bit mad and then did... So they're from Treasure Books. I'm going to leave the link below. I think it's amazing what she does. She does them a lot different, of course, but then I got some ideas myself and, you know, how we craft to suit our style, or trying to craft to suit our style. And I've made some envelopes, just mucking around with old book pages and book, yes, they're very brittle. And you know how you tear your pages? Well, as you can see just here, well, I didn't tear this, I used a ruler. And a lot of ladies say, well, I can't buy the ruler. Well, Nat from Treasure Books makes her own plastic ruler, and you just get in there with a pair of pliers, I did, and I just broke bits off, and then I went with a file and just smoothed it off a little bit, and it tears the pages just like that. How cool's that? You don't have to use your wrist anymore, just get your ruler and, you know, down you go. So that was a good tip of hers as well. It's amazing. Okay, so I'll put them away. Bit of a mess here. So I hope yous are all well. Like I said, this is an impromptus live. No one knows that I was going on. I just wanted to share my projects. I'll just get rid of this. Now, you might be wondering what these are. Because I've gutted my Reader's Digest books. Oh, hi, Debbie. Hi, Ruby. And so, yes, so I've gutted a lot of my Reader's Digest books and for the covers. So I'm left with all these books. Now, I'm sure it was Nat from Treasure Books inspired me to do this. If I'm wrong, please correct me, Nat, because I want to give credit to the right person. So what I've done is, you know how when we make, you know, we want to decorate a page, we want to make a tag or something, and we've got to get the napkin out and think about it. Well, I've actually popped the napkins on these book pages already, okay? These are just, what's this? This is miscellaneous and butterflies. So what I've done is I've just decoupaged them because they'll have the book pages on the end, okay, behind it. So you can see the book page behind. So when I want to use a piece, I'll just cut it out or rip the whole page out. Or if I wanted to make the envelope, I can just cut it out or rip it out, and I've already got an envelope and I can just decorate it. But I've popped on the napkins. So, great idea, I reckon. So, again, you know, what a great way to store my napkins. Mind you, not all 500 napkins are in here from my challenge last year. But, and then on the back, I've got the butterflies. So whenever I need something, I just go to the books, I know where they are, and I just cut it out, tear it out. And a lot of the scrap napkins. So that's that one. This one I've got is flowers and birds. So, you know, I've decoupaged the front. So if I need it, I've got it. And it's already on a page of book paper. I mean, how cool is that? So, again, you know, this makes a nice background for something that you might want on a project that you want to do. These are all my leftovers napkins. My personal stash, not the challenge napkins, but, you know, flowers. And it's already there. I don't have to think about it. And then on the back, I've got the bird ones. So I just flip them around, and I've got some of my bird ones here, if I can find them. I think it's a great idea. And then on this one is Christmas and horses. Some of the Christmas napkins I had left over, my personal stash. I've just popped them on there. Okay, and then on the back, I think, and great way to use up, we can buy those metal square things on the desk. What metal square things on the desk, Ruby? Metal square things on, you mean these ones? Is that what you're, those ones? Oh, they're book plates. You can buy them, just Google book plates and you can buy them. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the word WISH site or Amazon or, yeah. But I made my own, Ruby, and I'll show them in a minute because you didn't see that part. And then on the back I've put the horses on there. Okay. So, I mean, how cool is that? So that's a good way to store your napkins. Okay. So, Ruby, here we go. I used playing cards or Scrabble cards because they're nice and sturdy. And I decoupaged mine. And then I cut out some more cardstock, some paper, and I sewed it on. This one I actually wrote on it before the computer, before I had my ink for the computer. And, yeah, just use little scraps. Another one. This is this playing card here. This is a playing card. Don't like them, but they're a good size for tags or a book plate. Make your own. And this one I left, you know, blank because this is going to go inside a journal and the person that's going to buy it is going to put the other person's name on there, and I thought that was pretty cool. Another one. Now this one is actually made from, this is for you, Ruby, because you weren't here when I mentioned it, is I was lucky enough to find a stack of these. These are samples for Venetians, blinds, you know, this sort of woven fabric. And I got all these dark colours, okay? So I can use them as well as book plates, which I've done here, okay? So, because it's sturdy, so it's nice and solid. So you can sew on it and everything. So I've used a bit of scrap paper, bit of fabric, bit of a book page, and then, a sheet of A4 that I had printed out with various fonts for journal, and then I cut out the ones that I liked, and I just sewed it onto this piece of paper as well, and then just popped some bling on it. This one's going to go onto a music journal. Again, I've popped that on the back here on that swatch. Music paper, fabric, very sheer fabric. And I used this again here to make it stick out a little bit. bit of paper, and I actually cut this one out to put on top of the paper. So it's quite a bit. These are brads, so I've used brads on this one. Op shop finds, you know, I don't buy anything new. The only thing that I bought new was these when I started with the journals. I thought I had to have one of these. They were 6 in a pack, so this is only the second one that I've used. And of course, you know, I don't need to buy any more. So here's another one, bit of bling. And this is a Scrabble card. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so that's that, what I've done there. And then the ones that I make, I actually photocopy them to just jog my memory which ones I really liked. This is a really nice one. I popped that onto a journal, and that was a Scrabble card, and it was a decoupage napkin. It's only a piece of paper now. And the napkin had a butterfly, the flowers, and then I cut this out of a magazine that had journal written on it, a little bit of blue, and that's actually on a journal that's up in the shop that I've got out on commission at the moment. So I take a photo, you know, a photo of my book plates to remember which ones I really like. So that's not a bad idea. Okay, so that was that. Now, if you remember, if you're still here, Debbie, this is the Life Project card that was gifted to me by Chrissy Crosser. I don't think you were here, Ruby, when I shared this. My last video, I shared some happy mail, and Chrissy Crosser is here in Australia. She's a junk journalist. Oh, amazing journals. Beautiful, beautiful work. And she has her own Etsy shop as well. So she gifted me with some. And all I did was comment on them because I can't get them. I'm too far away to, and I don't buy them new. You know, they're just too costly. So that's why I bought myself a pack of jumbo playing cards that were in the op shop. Well, she's kind enough to gift them to me. And I altered one. And here I've used some curtain fabric. Very old curtain fabric. I just love the colour. And this is going to go into my wallpaper journal that I'm making, and I'll show you at the end of the live a little peek of the front cover that I started. So yeah, so a bit of vintage lace, little bit of flat back pearl trim that was gifted to me. I think it might have been the prize pack from Irene of Seriously Scrapping. And hi, Nat. How are you? Thank you. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry because I can't watch chat and do this as well. Oh, thank you, Ruby. And this is wallpaper, Ruby, because Karen Monroe here in Australia gifted me with some wallpaper. See if I can find it. Bear with me. Look at this wallpaper, Ruby. You would love this. Isn't this exquisite? And I've got 2 pieces. One will go in the journal and one I'm going to use to cut up. And I've cut this one to make a little tuck spot for another tag. And I actually stitched around this bit here to, you know, to highlight it. I stitched around zigzag stitch, and then I made this little tag, and it's a playing card, and I backed it with coffee dyed paper. The front is covered with book paper from a Reader's Digest, and it had this beautiful pattern along the page, so I've just had to cut that out and put that on there. This is part of an envelope, and this is scrapbook paper. A little button, wooden button, and I've just made a little, you know, just a little tag there, and that just tucks in here, and that's going to go into my, oh, it's French. Oh, really? Okay. Well, there you go. I didn't know that. And just as well, I've made it sort of into a really nice, delicate, yummy theme then, eh? And not gone into steampunk. Okay. I think I've shown the tags. I'll quickly show you the playing cards. Here's one of yours, little technique, Ruby. Anyone that doesn't know Ruby's here on live now. Pop over on the channel and have a look at the bobbin method. And here I showed the playing card, but I decoupaged it with paper, napkin, doily, and a little tag, and then book paper, coffee dyed paper on the back. Again, I've used fabric applique flower. Yes, she is, isn't she, Debbie? I've used this applique flower because I've had no use for it because I don't use orange very much. But I thought, this will lend itself really well in my, garden journal. Fleur de lis, yes. Here I've used, if you've got McDonald's over there in the UK and over in America, you'll know they're brown paper bags. They're red and they've got a yellow stripe. That's what they are here in Australia. Well, that's what I used. I don't throw them away. We rarely go to McDonald's, and when I do, I make sure I save their bags. So I used a napkin that had sort of like leaves on it, so I thought I'd put that on the side. And then I ripped out a bit of a script from a napkin just to pop it on there, and it's a bit of washi tape there. So lots of little tags that I've made. Some playing cards I covered on the back, and some playing cards I left plain because they're going to be tuck spots of a page. Okay, again, here I've rubbed it off. Oh, thank you, Nat. Yes, definitely. Oh, thank you, Ruby. You're very kind. So it's all scraps. The only thing that's bought, of course, is the bulb pins and the glue. So, so I gessoed this before and I didn't like it, so I rubbed it off and used a bit of sandpaper. I wanted to get rid of the gloss a little bit, but just scrappy bits of paper. Here again, I tried my hand in different collaging, still learning on that side of it. I used dressmaking paper, various colours of paper, scrappy paper. What glue do you use? I use this one here in Australia, Craft Hobby PVA glue. It's non-staining, dries clear, non-toxic, paper, cardboard, school projects, scrapbooks, timber, crafts. But in saying that, I also use this one, because this one bonds fabric, paper, leather, plastic, glass. When I used to do my stick pins, that's the only glue I used. So I sort of use both. But this one I've used throughout the tags. I did not use this. I've only used this one. So it's like a, PVA glue. I used PVA glue on this, and I used this one that does the glass, so you've got plastics and glass. I used this glue because I'm using beads, and I wasn't sure how that was going to go. So that's that. Now, I did do something else, and I'm just trying to think where I've put it. You have to bear with me, because I did another project. Oh, here we go. Okay. All right, now, so we've done, the beads. Okay. Paper beads. That's right. Debbie, you haven't done this. That's right. This is from anybody that's just come on live. I'm sorry if I haven't acknowledged you. Welcome, welcome. It's just I can't watch chat and do what I'm doing. It's just the way my iPad's set up. This inspiration came from Raelie from Crafts in the Dungeon here in Australia. And she showed us how to make paper beads. and it's just around a bamboo skewer, and you just wind it around, and you've got to sort of cut it from a point, and it sort of widens down, and you start at the widest end and finish with the narrowest end. And if I can show you my first bead, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. Look at it. It looks more like a, I don't know, something that you donk someone on the head over. But it's not, it's, you know, that was my first one. I'll probably chop that off down there. Paper clips. But these are the beads, okay? Now, they're not finished because I had trouble using my hands doing the wiring. And hubby found me some wire. So I'm sort of getting used to it. So I'll just show you what the finished product. And I'll just put them all back in here. So they're all different shapes. You know, they're all... And the paper that I've used, and I covered it with clear nail polish. And the paper I used, you've seen all this, Debbie, I'm sorry. It's this page. Where is Wally? I don't know if you're familiar with this children's books, but you got to find Wally. He's in there somewhere. Well, that's never interested me, but I just love all the colours. And by the time you cut it up, you know, you wouldn't know where Wally was on this bead, would you? It's just the colour. Isn't that cool? So, and I'll show you what they're like when they're finished. Also, I keep all the insides, yes, Nat, insides of spray bottles, those little plastic tubes. Thank you to Bonnie from Bonny and Clive. And you cut them any length, and you can wind your fabrics around, whatever, thread your wire through, and then pop your beads on. I mean, how cool is this? Again, recycling. So let me show you some of these beads now. Would you think that they were paper beads? I don't think so. Can you see them? Have I got a fabric here? Let me hold this here. Look at that. Making sure my camera's focusing. Right, I've put the wire through. I'm not very good in wiring this. It's pretty rough and ready, but that's okay. You know, you can get away. And then you can put another charm on here if you wanted to. So that's one. And now I want you to find Wally. Can you find Wally here? But look how pretty that is. You know, like, unbelievable. I used to make a lot of stick pins, so I've got a lot of these little beads left over. They're not, you know, very expensive beads, but, you know, they'll do the job. Some beads are really cool. And look at this one. And I've sealed them with clear nail polish because I can't afford to buy the special stuff that you buy, you know, like glaze something or other. So, yeah, so a bit rough and ready, but, you know, you can't hurt yourself on these. I've made sure. And another one's already got the bulb pin on it. Little pretty pink. And this is actually, was pretty plain paper. And I thought, oh, I need some pink. So I just went and got my texter and just went plonk, 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 plonk. And I thought, oh, is that going to look any good? And then by the time I put 2 coats on of the sparkly, you wouldn't even know that I went plonk, plonk, plonk. Oh, dear, oh, dear. I do carry on a bit. Sorry, ladies. Oh, where's Wally, my kids? Oh, dear. Look, here's another one. Isn't this exquisite? And this is paper from a gardening book that was showing off all the roses. I mean, it's a big fat bead. I went when it got a better control, but it was okay. I had some big bead caps here that I used. And I used part of a necklace. You know, I dismantled a necklace and used that as a dangle. And, you know, again, the twisting is not the best, you know. I'm not a professional wire wrapper, I think they call it. So yes, paper beads, and they're quite strong and they look really, really great. I was hearing the use it, and it was a Dick and Jane book. Oh, okay. Never heard of that one. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Now we've done Wally. So now I'm going to show you just a little peek, because I'm going to call a night because it's nearly 1 o'clock here. And one of the cards that Chrissy Crosser gifted me, in my last video you would have seen I got some happy mail from Chrissy Crosser. I'm going to leave all the ladies who I mentioned in this live, their links below. They're amazing crafters, and I was inspired by each and every one of them in one way or another. So she gifted me with these life journal cards, because I can't get them and I don't buy anything new. And that's why I'll end up buying this big jumbo pack from the op shop for 50 cents. I thought, well, that'll make great tags. Well, she gifted me these. Oh, thank you, Ruby. And so I've altered one. Mind you, I only got them yesterday. So I altered one, and hence the ball clip, because I might be able to take it off. Oops, wrong way around. I'll just take that off. So here's another one that I altered. And this is going to be for my garden journal. I used some really pretty tissue paper, and for a backing. This is out of a magazine that mainly showed like old-fashioned gardens that we all sort of like. I've used, this is actually a fringe, fringing, that gold fringing that you can buy that's sort of like this. I actually bought a bedspread last year and it had all this gold fringing, and I only bought it for the gold fringing. I'm just going to see if I can get hold of it. Just bear with me. And I've only got a little bit left. And that was around a bedspread. And I bought the bedspread for $2, and I had like nearly 8 meters of this fringing. And so I like taking it apart because, you know, I like it sort of real fluffy, scrunchy sort of thing. And that's what I used to put on here. Okay, to finish that picture off. This piece here was gifted to me by Aristi, and Aristi here on the channel. I'll leave her link down below as well. This is a cutout, flower cutout that was gifted to me, oh, look, nearly over 12 months ago. And I wasn't into paper crafting, you know, I was more into the lace and the fabrics and the shabby chic and all that sort of stuff. So it was sort of sitting in my stash. Well, I dug it out, didn't I? And it had all these flowers drawn on it. Well, I used up my rolled roses. I made these myself, except for this one, 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 in some happy mail. And I hope this internet is not going to go away, because that's what happened to me last time. So we're nearly finished. Used a bit of eyelash trim, bit of green eyelash trim, and just a little bit of trim here. And then I found this tiny little birdhouse. I don't even think you can see it. Let me have a look. Look at that tiny little birdhouse. Can you see that? My internet is slowing down. I know that for a fact. And that come off a necklace that I bought from the op shop that was broken. Just let me see if I can turn that around. Can you see that? Look at that. How cool is that? Huh? So I've used that on the end. And that's going to be a tuck spot. I was gifted with some amazing, actually I bought, hello, how are you, Asia? And from Bonny and Clive, she had a sale on of wallpaper. And there was a pack there that I really fell in love with. And I'm making a junk journal out of it. Feast your eyes on this one. Isn't this just amazing? So I'll be putting on real tassel along here. And probably real bling. And probably a proper knot on the top here, just to make it look really realistic as a front cover of a journal. So that's what I'll be doing. And I've already cut out some pages and some various wallpaper trims. I used my punch for the very first time. Op shop, not new, because they're about $40 new. $2 op shop, because I wouldn't buy them, let alone wouldn't know how to use them. I worked that one out after 2 hours. To make this beautiful edging on it. So I'm not finished because, you know, it's going to be, I can only do nighttime crafting at the moment. It's just so much happening. But aren't they beautiful? So once this is finished, and, you know, and the tag that I'm going to put in here is going to be in here, because I used a curtain and some of that wallpaper. So that's going to go into there. So I'd like to thank you all for coming on. And I hope you got something out of it. And I just can't believe my first bead. I mean, chuckle, chuckle, chuckle. That I'm actually showing that to you. Yes, with my altered playing cards. I was trying to load up a video today to share it, and it just wouldn't happen. So I thought I have to come on live. And when I tried live earlier on, I had the Aussie girls on, and then the internet totally crashed. It just went. So I couldn't do anything. I thought, well, I'll do the midnight. I'll do the midnight thing. Oh, and a little envelope. I nearly forgot. Check that out. Little button. I took the back off. Hi, Cliff. And I used a book page. Decoupaged it, used an old book page. I did not stress this. This is a really old book page. And then on the inside, I used old book page and stressed it with my, excuse me for reaching over, with my hair chalk, because I don't have, you know, distress ink and all that sort of thing that everyone else uses. So I used my chalk to distress the edges. And that's going to be a little envelope that's going to go in one of my journals. So thank you for coming on board, and hope you got a little bit out of this. I had fun. Did I show you the ruler? Can't remember now. Did I show you the ruler? Had to make your own distress tear ruler. Where's that paper? Okay. Plastic ruler. Prep her up. Break it off. File the edges how you want it. You can break a bit more if it doesn't look any good. And that way you've got your pages that you want to rip instead of using your wrist all the time, which I can't do much anymore. Great tip from Treasure Books. So I'm going to leave all the ladies' links below. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Crafty. I'm going to leave the link below of all the ladies that I've mentioned. All well-deserved because they're amazing crafters in their own right. And I'm hoping to get on live at the end of the week, but I'll put a video up to make the announcement to continue my steampunk horse. And yes, I know you're Ruby, Krista. Who did I say? There's Ruby, there's Raelie, there's everybody there. Oh dear, oh dear. Raelie from Crafts from the Dungeon with her beads, Nat Treasure Books, and then we have Ruby from Little Books, so Bonny and Clive. So there's a lot of inspiration there from everyone. So I hope you all have a great day, because I know the day's probably starting with you guys. And you know what you got to do. Happy crafting. Bye. Bye. Aussie hugs, everyone. Aussie hugs.